Strictly music, only music, and nothing else. I have an interesting one here today. Let's go ahead and get into Latto's Sugar Honey Iced Tea album. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Strictly music, only music, and nothing else. How are we feeling about this? Track 1, Georgia Peach. Huge fan of how this track opens up. The beat is phenomenal. Shout out production. Latto comes in and goes right at it. She doesn't waste any time at all. At all. All bars, no hook. She blasts straight through. And again, the production on this track is crazy. Big ups to production on this track. This opening track, track 1, Georgia Peach, it made me excited to play the rest of the project. And I feel like that's what an opening track should do. It should perk your ears up. It should get you interested to hear the rest of the body of work. And this track does that magnificently. And the bars are there. The bars are there. The production's there. So I'm ready to go. After hearing Georgia Peach, I was ready to get into it. So big ups, track 1. Now track 2, Big Mama. Production, again, is crazy. This is a hit. I like this a lot. Her flow on this is nasty. And then the beat switches as if to say, let's get started. Like, let's really go in. Let's really go at it now. Only true tracks in, and Latto is relentless. We're only 2 tracks in, and she's relentless. I'm here for this, and the production is working overtime to drive home that album feel, that studio project. It feels like this had a big budget. This feels like it had a big studio. It feels like it had some real talented guys behind the scenes bringing this to life. And 2 tracks in, and she's not wasting any time. So I do like track 2, Big Mama. I do feel like that's a hit, and I'm into that as well. So she's 2 for 2. Now track 3, Blixum. Track 3 was definitely a step down from the previous track. This track is good, but it's not a particularly strong track, especially considering the strong start of the project. It's a good track, but it definitely feels a bit ordinary. So you do take a risk when you start your project off as strong as she did. Because when you start the project off like that, the expectation is high. Track 1, track 2, raise the bar. And I feel like track 3 just did not reach it. It may have grazed it because the production is just that good, but it did not reach the bar that was set by the previous 2 tracks. So you do take a risk when you start off your project so strong. And that was track 3, Blixum. I definitely think that it's not as strong as its 2 predecessors, Georgia Peach and Big Mama. Now track 4, Settle Down. The beat selection on this project is excellent. I'm feeling the production on this. We know Latto has a rap bag. We know this. But these melodic flows and hooks shows her bag is even deeper. It shows her bag is even deeper, and the beat is working overtime on this. Big ups to production on this track. The song is not necessarily anything extravagant, but it works. It's good, and it works. So I enjoy that. It wasn't necessarily a step down like I feel track 3 was, but it was safe. It was safe. She caught the ball on this track. She took a knee. It was decent. And that's track 4, Settle Down. And production is relentless on this. Production, I feel like, hasn't missed yet. Production is working overtime on this. Bigger artists, big studio artists. Production had all the room in the world to play and experiment, and that's what it sounds like. So big ups to whoever's making these beats. Big ups to the engineer. This is magnificently put together. Now track 5, Shrimp and Grits, featuring Young Nudie. Production is back again in full force. She even plays with the chopped and screwed Southern style flow where they slow the beat down and they warp it. I'm digging that. Now I'm getting that feeling back that the first 2 tracks gave me. The high point starts to return for me on track 5, Shrimp and Grits, and she's joined by Young Nudie. And Nudie is one of those slept on hit makers. He can get you one. Nudie can definitely get you one. This track I feel like is another one of them ones I feel like this one is a hit for sure. I'm really into that. I'll be giving this some more burn. Shout out Nudie as well. He did his thing on this track. Now track 6, There She Go. Here we go. That energy and that feeling that took a bit of a dip on track 3 and 4 is starting to come back. Track 5 starting to come back. Track 6 takes the baton and it keeps running with it. She tears this hook apart. And her beat selection on all of these songs, it really shows her versatility. Big fan of the ad-lib placement on this as well. I like how this song was structured. I like how this song was put together, and it's starting to kind of pick up the baton and run with it. I feel like track 3 we stumbled a bit. Track 4, it was okay, but track 5, Shrimp and Grits with Nudie, we start to go back up. And track 6, There She Go, we're continuing to go up. So now I'm even more interested to see how we're going to take the rest of this project and how is it going to turn out, because we're starting to get that high point back. Track 3, track 4, maybe a bit nervous, but she picks it up and she recovers very well. Now track 7, Brokey. Latto is relentless, man. She's relentless. She's relentlessly going at these beats. And these are some of the beats of the highest level and the highest caliber. And this is one of them ones, maybe even in top 3 contention on the whole project. Excuse me. This might be top 3 on the whole project. And she got more of those well-placed ad-libs that I like. I like when Latto structures her songs in a certain way. The ad-libs were hitting and they added a lot for this track for me. And I like that. Big ups to Latto on this one. I'm feeling this, and I like the way the beat carries out at the end. Really dope beats. Really, really dope beats. So it's smart to isolate them occasionally, just to let them carry out, or to maybe not rap over them all the way through, because these are really good beats, and it won't hurt you to allow them to do their thing. So track 7, Brokey, I got it in top 3 for the project. I think it's in the top 3 contention for the project for sure. Now track 8, Mimi interlude. Heartfelt interlude. I can't complain. And it's necessary for an album, especially an album of this length. Gotta have an interlude in there. And if you are going to throw an interlude in there, it might as well be an interlude that means a little something. So that's us taking a deep breath before we start to run this race again that she has us on, because she's relentless. So I don't see anything wrong with track 8 being an interlude, taking a breath, letting us know there's a message here, and then getting right back at it. So track 8, Mimi interlude, it was fine. Now track 9, H&M. Not a fan of this hook on track 9. Latto delivers the bars, but the hook feels a bit forced in my opinion. Not really big on this track at all, especially coming off of track 8, which is a hard act to follow. I do like the chopped and screw at the end of the production. Production is not wasted on any of these tracks. Even the weaker ones such as this, it still sounds great. The engineers are still turning up. The producers are still going crazy. So even on a weaker track like H&M, it still sounds magnificent, but I'm not a huge fan of H&M. And I do feel like track 7, Brokey, is hard to follow. And you're coming off of track 8, which is the heartfelt interlude. This was okay. I think this is one of the weakest songs on the project though, but it was decent. It was decent. Now track 10, Copper Cove, featuring Honcho. I'm feeling her verse on this a bit more than her hook. She's joined by Honcho, and I don't know if he was the best pick for this track. He doesn't really add much of anything at all for me on this track. Another phenomenal beat. I haven't heard a bad beat on this entire project yet, but you could leave Honcho off of this. He doesn't really do much. I mean, he adds his name and he brings his fan base, but if we're talking strictly music, only music and nothing else, he doesn't really add anything to the track. So track 9 and 10, it kind of fell into the same it fell victim to the same thing that track 3 and 4 did. You had these high tracks with real high energy, real high octane, and then we have these two back-to-back tracks that are a bit of a fall off and a bit of a slope. So, but if it does follow the trend all the way through, then the next track after this should be a smash. And then we get to track 11, Ear Candy featuring Coco Jones. And my suspicion was correct. Coco Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Coco Jones. I feel she could have helped the last two tracks. She could have got on the track before this and replaced Honcho, and it would have been a whole different track. This feels like a way better, way more put together track than the one that she did with Honcho before this. Latto's bag is deep. Latto's bag is deep. And I like when she's paired with a artist that has such a deep R&B bag, because her rap bag is deep. And any artist that specializes in that sound like Coco Jones does can add a lot to Latto's tracks. And it's a major improvement to the previous track. These two mesh very well, and I'm a big fan of Latto on this. I'm a big fan of Coco Jones on this. She tore that hook to shreds, but Latto still gets her harmonics off, and that's good. She's still showing, hey, I have a bag too, but Coco Jones stole this by a mile from me. Coco Jones took off on this, and I like that a lot. This is a top five track in my opinion, and it's definitely in the conversation if it's not an undebatable top five. So Latto did what she has to do, Coco Jones did what she had to do, and Coco Jones was so strong on the track that she allowed Latto to do what she does best, which is rap. So these two mesh very well together, and I would like to hear more from them in the future, if we're being honest. Now track 12, Liquor. We are now 12 for 12 on beats, in my opinion. 12 for 12 on beats. I haven't heard a bad beat yet. She comes in with a completely different flow, and it's dope. With that being said, it's definitely one of the weaker songs on the project, for sure. The initial flow she comes in with is the high point of this whole entire track for me, but she doesn't stick to it. She relinquishes it very quickly. I felt like she should have stuck to it, and that would have drove the track way higher up in the rankings, because that initial flow she had, it was nasty, it was dope. But it's definitely one of the weaker songs on the project, and definitely some well-placed ad-libs again from Latto. Like I said earlier, I like the way she structures her songs. But I will say this. If you have songs that are hits and smashes, and you have some that are weaker, I can't necessarily complain about how she's structuring this project. She's putting the weaker ones behind these colossal smashes, almost as if to cover them up a little bit, or give them a little bit of legs, or give them a little bit of breathing room, or allow them to lean on the track before them. So, I mean, I get it. If you got some tracks that you want to get off, and then you just have other tracks that are just so much bigger and so much better, you can pair them together. It's like Big Brother, Little Brother. You're going to allow the colossal track to kind of help out the weaker one. So this one is undeniably weaker than track 11 with Coco Jones. But where else would you put it? If not after a smash, if you know objectively, if you can think like we tend to do, in terms of strictly music, only music and nothing else, the best placement for this would be behind a colossal hit. You don't want to jumble and condense these weaker tracks in a row together, because it takes over from the project. So you can put smash, 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 weaker track, smash, smash, weaker track. So you can kind of sneak these in there. Track 12, Liquor. Definitely a weaker track for me. Very weak. Very weak. I would say maybe even bottom 2. Now track 13, Squeeze, featuring Megan Thee Stallion. This is a super pop track. I like that Latto's bag is deep, and she's really displaying that on this project. She's displaying just how deep her bag is, and she went all the way pop with this one. Like, she went all the way pop. And when you're joined by Megan Thee Stallion, who comes in with that delivery that she's known for, you gonna have a hit on your hands. And I'm feeling the sample flip on this. If you know, you know. I don't think it's one of the better tracks on the project, in my opinion, but it may have the most mainstream appeal on this project. If we're going by mainstream appeal, there's certain songs on here that have a very mainstream appeal, very mall music, very radio, and this is one of those tracks. It's super, super digestible, which doesn't necessarily make it bad, but it is very digestible for the masses, so it definitely has that going for it. So it's decent. Now track 14, Good to You featuring Sierra. Another pop style track joined by Sierra, but I think this one is leagues better than the one with Megan Thee Stallion. It brings a completely different life to a track when you put Sierra on it. And she adds so much to the overall feel. And it has an Outkast sample flip. I like this one a lot. I think it's up there in the rankings for sure. And she also went super pop with this. But this is a different type of pop. This is one of those ones, in my opinion, that's up there in the rankings. I wouldn't say it's in top 5 contention, but maybe 7 or 8. This one's up there. And if you made an argument for it to be at 6, well, I might just give you that. Sierra really showed up and showed out. And that was track 14, Good to You. Now track 15, Look What You Did, featuring Mariah the Scientist. I'm a big fan of Latto when she stands next to these R&B artists. Mariah the Scientist, does her thing on this. I like Mariah a lot. I tend to listen to her myself. I think she is one of those very, very dominant R&B acts, and it's always a pleasure to hear her. I like how much she works with rappers. She's not afraid to get on rap tracks and rap projects and show her bag. So I do like Mariah when she does that. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this turn on the project. It seems like midway through, the genre changed completely. Now we're getting these pop tracks. Now we're getting these R&B tracks. And I'm feeling this in a big, big way. This project is extraordinarily put together. Like, it's very well put together. I like the structure of it. I like the beat selection of it. I like the features and just the overall bars and cadence. I'm feeling this. I'm liking the delivery on this track. I'm liking the delivery on this project. I like the way they put this project together. The tail end of it is laced with pop tracks, laced with R&B tracks. They threw some mids in there, but they got the mids in there and they covered them up with the smashes. The top part of this project seems to be rap heavy. You got nudie, you got these crazy hooks. I like how they structured this Sugar Honey Iced Tea project. I like that a lot. So big ups to track 15 with Mariah the Scientist. Big ups to that. I'm going to give that some more burn because, again, like I said, I do like Mariah a lot. And I'm feeling that. So that's going to be in my personal playlist. And if we're talking strictly music, only music like we tend to do, that's one of them ones for me. Now track 16, Prized Possessions. Another phenomenal beat, and what I think is the most interesting feature on the entire project, she's joined by Tizo Touchdown. I like this track a lot. Tizo got a good deal of shine on this track, and he doesn't waste it. He ping-pongs back and forth with Latto at the end, and I find that to be very dope. Tizo was an interesting selection for me. He lost me for a brief moment initially. Maybe midway through when he started doing his thing, he kind of lost me a bit, but he recovered quickly, and I like that a lot. So big ups to Tizo. He definitely got a chance to shine on a project as big as this. So if you don't know about Tizo, check him out. He's dope. He showed his bag on this, and Latto kind of got out the way and let him do that. So big ups to her for giving some shine to some of these newer acts. Now track 17, which ends the project, is a great way to end the project. Another great beat. Latto really lets her pen stretch its legs on this track. This is very reminiscent of Drake's bag when he gets to rapping like this. And that's something to say when you're comparing her pen to one of the greatest artists to ever do it. So that shows that her pen is very deep. That shows that her pen is very deep. Her pen level and her penmanship and her ability to put together a track, if you could even get flashes of an artist of that ilk and that caliber, that says a lot about Latto herself. So track 17, shout out to me. I feel like that was a great way to end this Sugar Honey Iced Tea project. Now, she did structure this like a deluxe, like a pseudo deluxe. So it is from 1 to 17, which is the conventional album, and then it starts from 1 again, from 1 to 5. And number 1 on the deluxe end of this, or the pseudo deluxe end of this project, is called Chicken Grease. Latto gives us all the extras at the end of this project, and she lets all the hits off the shelf. And Chicken Grease is just that. It's hot. It's hot. His track is dope. Big ups to Latto. And then she put it on the floor after that, which is another smash. Rip Me Out the Plastic. And then she's joined by Cardi B for track 3 on the pseudo deluxe end of this, for Put It On the Floor Again. And that's another smash. And then she puts Sunday Service after that. And then she's joined by Megan Thee Stallion and Flo Milli for Sunday Service Remix. And on the Sunday Service Remix for track 5 on the pseudo deluxe end of this project, I feel like Flo Milli had the best verse. Flo Milli is definitely slept on, and she doesn't waste no time putting her stamp on that track. Flo Milli went balls to the wall when she got on this track, and I like Flo Milli's verse better than Latto's and Megan's. I feel like Flo Milli might have had one of the better verses on the entirety of this project. I think as far as features concerned, Flo Milli may be number 1 to me. I got Flo Milli, Ciara, and Mariah the Scientist. Maybe you could switch Mariah out with Coco Jones. So I can say Flo Milli, Mariah, and Coco Jones. Or I could say Flo Milli, Ciara, and Coco Jones. I'm not sure. I do want to put Coco Jones in there. I don't know if she should replace Ciara and or Mariah the Scientist, but Flo Milli's not going nowhere in my opinion. Flo Milli went crazy on that feature, and I like that a lot. So at the end of the conventional album, Latto dumps out the rest of the hits, and this was nothing but gasoline on the fire. If nothing else, this was just gasoline on the fire. The project's already a smash. To let that many hits off at the end, I mean, it's almost laughable. She knows what she was doing when she did that. I like this project a lot. I like the genre switch midway through, and this Sugar Honey Iced Tea is laced with a few more than one hits. And if we're talking strictly music, only music and nothing else, Latto Sugar Honey Iced Tea is up there. You need to go get it. It's fire. This is a bad album. This is dope. She got a lot on here. I challenge you to structure a strong top 5 or an undeniable or undebatable top 5 for this project, because she got a lot on here, and it's up for grabs as to which one on this project is number 1. And I myself am going to find a great deal of pleasure going through this project and trying to structure it from order of greatest to least, because there's a couple on here. Strictly music, only music and nothing else. Latto Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Go get that shit. Go get it.